Ding 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 ding.
Fubble Time.
Yay! Hi, my name is
Hi.
Teresa Tomey. Hi, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to them. Oh, hi, my name is Teresa Tomey,
And I'm Patrick Ziegler.
and we are,
Fubble Entertainment.
and this is
Fubble
a
Time.
very special return episode of Fubble Time.
Didn't
Fubble Time.
Gloria Swanson, who played Norma Desmond? I hate that word return. It's a oh no.
That's a good. That's good. Good story.
I'm forgetting what she said.
Yes.
Anybody out there? We're already getting people showing up. So anybody out there? I hate that. Oh, she says comeback, and it says, I hate that word. It's a return. Oh, my newly married niece, or my nephew's newly married wife, I should say. His mom is here, who
Kevin's back too. All right, Kevin, we love
that's
you.
that's my niece's Ellie's mother, and she's
Oh,
gone
yes.
gangbusters buying bracelets
Oh
for
my gosh,
everybody.
her and my sister. My gosh, Mary Kay's like, I've got 13 more on order. Oh, we miss fubbling with you
Kevin.
too, Kevin. Thank you so much for showing up. We are so excited. We don't have a ton of time. We do have a nice chunk of time. But before we get into bios, I just want to hi, Connie. Hello, hello. Thank you for showing up. Connie, I think, messaged me, and she went to high school with you. I think she's a
She did,
lead.
and
She's a leader.
she's buying a bracelet for her friend's wife.
Nice, very nice. So before we jump in, I want to ask you a question, and then we're going to bring the fabulous women, the friends, the galentines of the Blessing
Yay.
Bracelet.
The
Um,
gal pals, the
the
gal pals
gal
that go
pals.
to Galentine.
This is true. I want to ask you, what is the most surprising thing for you through this process? I'm just really curious. Do you have an answer to that question? Hello, Michelle.
Um,
Thank you for showing up.
how from hello from Michigan. Yay. Oh,
Oh,
people.
Gabrielle. Oh, yay, Gabrielle. Thank you for stopping by.
I think the most surprising is the outpour from the fans. I think I didn't have any clue that it would be going like it's going, and just the how well and warmly it's received. I'm just blown away.
Blown away.
I just really am. How about you?
That would be exactly what when I thought of that question earlier today, that was exactly what I thought. The fans are just ridiculously wonderful and
So
kind.
nice.
And yeah, by and large, I mean, it's been a crazy outpouring of love and warmth. And so it's been really fun.
And it was
So,
fun being able to share with the ladies that we got our ratings, and they were very successful. And
hi,
oh,
cousin
cousin
Judy's
Judy's
here.
here. Yay.
Thank you so
Fun.
much. Thanks for being a big fan. Thanks for following along. Thanks for your support early on in our lives. Thank you
Yes.
for being here with us. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna. Yeah. Yes, you were just gonna say something about our
Oh,
rate.
my cousin Lori.
Yay, Lori! Another good
Family and
fun.
friends are here. Yay.
We do have family and friends here. Yay! So
So
nice.
yeah, so as we always do, we do a brief rundown of these our Fubble guest bios. So I get Allison Wanzura.
Why don't you let me go
Wanzura.
first? Then we can go boom, boom, boom. Then we can switch. So I can do. So I'll do one, then you do one, then I'll do one.
Okay.
Is that annoying? I'm going to do it anyway. I don't care. Madonna Gonzalez is a Latin Canadian actress based out of Vancouver, BC, British Columbia. She grew up in Toronto. Yay! I wonder if Cecily's out there. No,
Oh,
she's
she's
off in
in
Ireland.
Ireland.
She's in Ireland. She has a bachelor's degree in drama performance at the University of Lethbridge. And she has, since moving to Vancouver, I should say, she has achieved great success on screen. Some of her credits include Yellow Jackets on Showtime. Ooh, good show. Virgin River on Netflix, Family Law, A Magical Christmas Village with Hallmark,
Oh, yes. I've seen that one.
several Lifetime and Hallmark movies. She can also be seen in national commercial spots. We are going to dive in, Maytag. We're going to dive in, and Cottonelle, I love that, and talk a little bit more about her how she got into the industry in just a little bit, so we won't give it all away here. But she is currently in the Blessing Bracelet as Janelle.
Is that me?
Now it's you.
Okay, Alison Wanzura is a Canadian actress from Calgary, Alberta. She completed her bachelor's degree in theater at the University of Calgary. After performing on stage for several years, she relocated to Vancouver, British Columbia, to pursue work in film and television. She can be seen guest starring in projects on platforms including Netflix, CBS, ABC, National Geographic, Lifetime, and, of course, Hallmark. And in 19, no, she wasn't even around in 19 something. In 2019, she won a Leo Award for her performance as a villain in Hallmark's Garage Sale Mysteries, All That Glitters. I love that.
Nice. I do too.
And in 2021, she received glowing reviews for her performance as Becca in An Unexpected Christmas. In addition to her camera work, she is a voiceover artist and has written and produced several short films. And she currently resides in Vancouver and the world's cutest Chihuahua and
Love
human
that.
named James. Yes, we
Nice.
know. We'll tell you about when we saw the headshots for the dogs and what treats it did.
And now Micah Kelpin, we are so thrilled that she is here. She was very interested in the entertainment industry at a very young age. I'm not going to share some of this piece of her bio because I think you need to hear it from her directly. She struck early success by landing a role after her first audition for Desolation, a comedy. And after this excitement, she went on to work in the entertainment industry any way she could, working hands-on in the production department on a variety of notable films. You'll recognize these names: Elf, Final Destination 2 and 3, Catwoman, and Fox's Fringe. She has played the role of Jillian in the horror film Guiltless. She did something in the middle. She was acting, and then she wasn't acting, and now she's acting.
I know what you're talking about. Oh, cool.
The wasn't acting is fascinating, so we're going to have her
totally
talk
is.
about wasn't acting. She is played the role of Jillian in the horror film Guiltless, which is currently making the festival rounds. She recently wrapped on 2 other indie features, the drama Sunflower Dreams, where she plays Grace, a writer who inherits a vineyard from a former suitor, and the thriller Lola Dust. She's playing Margaret there, a former cybersecurity expert turned journalist. Very fun. Currently, she can be seen in the Blessing Bracelet for Hallmark. So we are so thrilled. Let's bring these fabulous, talented women forward. There's Madonna.
Doing the order that we did their bios. Yay.
And Micah.
Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Hi,
everyone.
Hi.
It's so great to have you here. Patrick's doing multiple things there. So shall I jump in with the first question? So we'll just kind of have you guys kind of round robin. This is pretty chill. Hey, if you're with us on Facebook or YouTube and you want to, I think just Facebook can send the questions. If you have questions.
No, YouTube can also.
Can submit questions. Okay. If you guys have any questions for our guests, please let us know. We're happy to ask them for you. But we always start with this question with our creatives. And that
real quick. I just have to say, so happy for the success you're experiencing with the Blessing Bracelet. Oh, with the actresses, I thought it said. So I'm putting that up there.
How did you get, we kind of know a little bit of this maybe from some of your bios, but how and when did you get bitten by the bug? And is the theater bug a part of that? Is the acting bug? Like, how did that manifest for you at what age and creatively? Like, how'd you get into it? And Madonna, why don't you go first?
Sure. Well, so I come from a theater background, and I mean, I feel like I've been doing, musicals and plays since I was super young, throughout high school. And I think when I got into theater in high school, I think I sort of already knew that this was what I wanted to do. And, I had this skill for entertaining the masses, if you will. And I just always loved performing. And, when I decided to go to university and actually study acting and directing, I found that it was something that I really enjoyed. And I thought that I would be doing theater for like ever, but then when I moved to Vancouver, I was like, you know what? The film industry here is so crazy. Like there's so much going on. There's so much filming in Vancouver. You know, why not just jump right in and see what that side of the industry is like? And it was definitely a bit of an adjustment because, you know, when you're on stage, you're, you know, projecting to like a whole audience and everything's very grand and big. And so having to, you know, dial that in and dial it back and be a lot more subtle was definitely a challenge because I think in my everyday life I am very expressive and, you know, loud and crazy. So it was a bit of a struggle initially, just seeing, you know, where I need to be in terms of the tone for TV and film. But yeah, it's been really great, and I've had a lot of success in the last couple of years. So, you know, we're just gonna keep going. It's great.
Nice.
Great.
Nice.
I know Patrick had, we'll jump into Allison. I remember Patrick, the first time he was on camera, wasn't it like on a soap opera in like all my children or something?
It was All My Children.
He'd come from the National Shakespeare Conservatory. Did you hit like your first line was like?
It was Ready Dad was my first line, and I was really loud, and the director nicely came over and he was like, "You can really bring that down. This is television." Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, come on.
So we always say, "Ready, Dad." Ready.
That's our go-to.
Ready. Dad.
What did you meet? Decide to work together? Oh, that's for us. Let's get. We'll ask Allison. How did you first get bit by the entertainment bug?
Being from Calgary, Alberta, in the prairies of Canada, acting wasn't really a thing that kids grew up thinking that they could do as a job. So, like, you know, my parents worked in more like the corporate sector of things, and like, you know, my parents would be happy if I'd become an engineer or like a lawyer or a doctor. And so I never thought that I could be an actor as a job. And I've always loved the idea of acting and put on, you know, little puppet shows with my brothers and we would try to create videos for America's Funniest Home Videos, like just stage videos. Little did we know Canadians were not welcome to apply for that show.
Really?
Yeah, I guess you have to be American to get on America's
I guess it's America's Funniest Home Videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was produced in America. That's interesting.
I guess it wouldn't have worked out anyway. But so yeah, I kind of grew up enjoying performing, but not realizing that could be a career. And I actually recently found a diary or a journal entry from like grade 7 where I wrote something like, I wouldn't it be amazing if I could be an actor and like have people do my makeup and like have like wear beautiful outfits and stuff and like do that for a job? You know, just kind of fantasizing about it, but I never thought that could be a reality. So when I went to university, I actually did my commerce degree because I thought, you know, you can actually get a job if you get a commerce degree. And then when I was there, I started taking classes in the drama faculty. So I ended up doing a dual degree in drama and in commerce. And then when I graduated, of course, like straight to the office, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday to Friday. And then I would do community theater at night. So I'd go like straight from the office to rehearse Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf and
Nice.
theater till 11 and invite everybody from my office to come see my plays. And I did some dinner theater for, you know, like, you got to start if you start in dinner theater, then, you know, you've always got somewhere to go. It's like, it's a nice humble beginning. And, you know, eventually I got the idea that if I moved to Vancouver, I could actually try this as a business. Like I could actually make a living off of this. That was my only chance, is if I kind of moved either to Vancouver or Toronto. So I moved when I was 26. And I remember the day telling my bosses at work, because I used to work in marketing in the swimmer industry. And I remember sitting them down and saying like, so I'm going to move to Vancouver to become an actor. And they weren't surprised at all. And, they, you know, so it wasn't a direct, like it wasn't something I just had done my whole life and, you know, had always been an actor. It was something I kind of came to as a second career. And I still pinch myself. Like I'll be in a trailer and hanging up my clothes and finishing up a job. And I just think like, how amazing would the 7th grade version of myself think that I do this as my job. So I have to always remind myself like how lucky we are to do this and what a dream this is to do as a career.
7th graders still inside there just screaming for
yeah
it's
yeah
just amazing. It's just amazing. I love that. Actually, in 7th grade, I wrote, "I'm going to marry a tall, dark Italian Catholic named Fred."
How'd that go?
Named Michael.
And
I ended up with a tall, dark Italian Catholic named Fred.
See, you just got to write these things down.
She manifested.
I manifested.
I'm a huge believer in it. I said I want to live in Douglas, Michigan, and write movies for Hallmark, and I'm doing it.
Every little boy's dream.
Yeah.
I was a little older at that point.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah. But truth is, I used to sit with my grandmother's typewriter and write little plays and everything when I was young. So,
right.
And before Micah jumps in, we got this great comment from Colleen. There's always seems to be such chemistry between the actors. Love watching the Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
And there was such a chemistry between the three of you. So we'll get into that a little bit. But Micah, you're up.
All right.
From points outside of Canada right now, right?
I know. I'm coming to you from San Jose del Cabo, which is about 30 minutes west of the party town Los Cabos. I like to be chill, so we're just in chill town over here.
Nice.
Yeah. So I got bit by the bug, the entertainment industry bug, when I was about 6 years old on a family trip to Disneyland. That was where it happened for me, that I realized, oh, this is beyond what we see on TV. There's people do this stuff for a living. So that's like probably how early it started for me, the interest. And of course, you know, I was never really encouraged to pursue acting because I came from a family a little bit like Allison, where the idea was you would become a nurse or a teacher, or you would be a doctor or a veterinarian, and you'd have sort of like a very organized, formal career path, which I did not do. But I did work in production all through my 20s, and it was great. I just had so much exposure. Yeah, it was wonderful. I was a location PA and a office production assistant and an assistant to many producers that have just done really cool things with their careers. And I got to be involved in some really wonderful projects that way. And I came into acting only 5 years ago. So it took much later for me into my adult life to really decide to give it a go. And I think the moment that I actually fell in love with acting was in a coaching session with my coach, Shane Savage, who's here in Vancouver, and I've been with him for 4 years. And I had the first experience of really losing myself in the scene with him. And just not thinking about my lines and not thinking about what was happening and just really being in it. And then him being so excited and him saying, okay, let's watch it back. That was the one. And then watching it back and going, oh, well, that was actually okay. All right, fun. So that was kind of my moment where I connected to acting for the first time.
That's so great.
Fun. Can you briefly at least share, because I teased it in your bio, what you did between production work and, do you ladies know this, Madonna?
Yeah.
Do you know? Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny. Most people don't expect it. So it's kind of funny because one of the producers actually that I was assisting had this real fascination with the police. And he was friends with these guys from Vancouver police, and they'd be coming in and they'd be consulting and showing the actors how to hold the guns and clear a room and do all that stuff. And so there was this ongoing dialogue and relationship that was built there in Sean's office. And, you know, they'd be inviting us girls to come out for ride-alongs. And I remember at 24, I was like, oh, no, I don't think so. I couldn't possibly go in a police car, you know. And then in 2008, 2009, there was a real slowdown in the industry. And I came to the first point in 5 years where I didn't have a show to go on to. And I kind of panicked. And I remember talking to my dad, and he said, well, kiddo, it might be time to get a real job.
Yeah.
Like, it might be. And so it actually just kind of happened very slowly, I started to volunteer with Victoria Police. Then I studied criminology at SFU. And it took about 3 years for me to actually get hired, but I became a police officer. And so I did that for a decade here in Canada. It moved me all across the country. Yeah. And I always think of that phase of my life as the part where I grew up and I developed all of the emotions that I now get to call on as an actor.
That's really cool. I think
sometimes it was really cool.
It's just such a cool journey. It's such an interesting journey. Yeah.
Well, especially for somebody
to people come. Sorry, go ahead, Patrick.
Well, for Dad, to say maybe it's time to go get a real job. I mean, talk about. I'm thinking like working in a factory or something or an office. And no, I'm going to become a police officer.
No, he wasn't thinking police officer. He was like, well, did you want to maybe be a notary public or a lawyer or something?
Notary public.
Why police officer? And it's so funny because when I was coming around to retiring from policing, I went to my dad and I was like, "Hey, Dad, well, it's time. I'm making this decision. It's going to change my life quite a bit, but I'm going to leave policing." And he was like, "Well, what are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to go travel and I'm going to just go find myself and hopefully it's going to hit me there." And then of course the pandemic happened and there was no travel. So, but when I did come to acting, I went back to my dad and I said, "Okay, Dad, well, I'm getting into acting." And he was like, "Oh no, you aren't you?" Because when I said I was going to be a police officer, he was like, "Oh, whatever, she won't do it." And he's like, "Now I know when you say you're going to do something, you're actually going to do it."
That's great.
What have you ever had to utilize your experience in any movies that way?
Just recently, actually, I wrapped on a film called Lola Dust last week, and my character, Margaret, she's a great character. I'm so happy that I was given the opportunity to play her, but she was a former cybersecurity expert turned journalist. And so that role kind of takes me through being a senior person to my mentee who's going through this identity crisis. Essentially, she's been deep faked. And so she's come to Margaret to help her through. And I think there's just a very sort of baked in part of my personality that is a protector and a guider from being in policing. And I think that, the director saw it in me immediately, and I certainly wasn't putting it on. It was just there in my personality. Nice. So I think that there's definitely, I'm hoping that there's going to be some roles where I really get to dig in to some grit.
Cool. I want to know, that's so fantastic. And Patrick, there's a comment there who said,
"I saw it
for your service."
Oh, Connie, thank you.
Her son is a Kalamazoo County Sheriff Deputy.
The city in Michigan. Allison, I want to know, this is off script, Patrick, off our question list. I want to know what part of your past allowed you to play a villain so effectively. Did you draw on anything in your past? Like
just growing up with my family. Just witnessing it all.
Love it.
I grew up in, Eastern European immigrant. My grandparents were immigrants, and they just don't hold anything back. And so,
yeah,
I don't know. I heard it described once where this one actress I love, and she's a lovely person in real life, and she plays a lot of like dark, really not nice people. And she kind of described it once as she just has access to her shadow self, and then we all have this shadow self.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And some of us just have easier access to that, and I have just played a disproportionate number of bad people on TV. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's my strong jawline. I don't know if it's my voice. I don't know. But it just, and it's quite easy for me to just fall into someone who's an awful person. I don't know what that says about me. But pays the bill.
They're fun characters to play.
It's
you have
fun.
The big thing is you have to find the likability-ish in that villainous
You
character.
Have to find, exactly. People have to understand where they're coming from in some way. And even when I play a character who's you know, someone in the Blessing Bracelet, or like usually in a Hallmark movie, other than when I'm playing a killer in a Hallmark movie. I always try to find something like a flaw, like what are their character flaws, you know, and I try to like use that to make them more real. So
Patrick, is it okay if I ask another question? Jump in. Did you have one?
Yeah, but I love that you went like this because she's wearing her bracelet, right?
Oh, got my bracelet.
And I got mine on. Yay, Micah's got hers on.
We're wearing my blessing bracelet. Now I forgot my question. See, this is what happens. I wanted to ask a question about being on set that had to do something with what she was saying. Oh, you were talking about character development. You know, I watched one of the Instagrams from one of the women who was in the show. She's the woman who asks her to get where you guys walk up and we're like, we're her gal pals, we're gonna help you.
Sandra.
Sandra.
Yeah.
I saw
we
her.
love Sandra.
Sandra is a trip, man. She's hilarious. Her Instagram talked about her backstory. So I want to know if you guys created backstories for yourself and what you came up with. John is laughing. Do you have a backstory?
Well, we all kind of sort of collectively created a backstory that was very not Hallmark, you know. Like we were all, you know, spinsters, and you know, we were trying to find husbands. Like,
yeah, it's like, you know, once you've been filming for 12 hours and you're delirious, and you know you're sitting there making these bracelets. We start talking about like why don't these women have anything else?
We're
like, are we just gonna stay here all weekend at church making bracelets? Like, do we apparently have nothing else to do? So
we have no dates. Like, are we going to the pub afterwards to find a date? I mean, yeah, what's going on with our personal lives?
And how can I utilize making a bracelet to catch a man, kind of thing, right?
I will say though, and this is, you know, a credit to Patrick and Teresa, that generally when you get a best friend breakdown or a sister breakdown for a Hallmark, it's usually something like, this woman is in her 30s, she's very pregnant and happily married. Or if it's not that, she's like on the prowl herself, you know, and just wants to believe in love. And in this case, there was actually no mention of any of us really like pursuing, you know, a relationship, or we weren't like, as I used to call it when I was a kid, boy crazy. We weren't boy crazy. It wasn't like all about guys. In fact, it was not really about that at all for us, right? It was just about friendship and community and helping each other. So I thought that was pretty refreshing.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It was, you know, it's so funny. A lot of the comments that we're getting, which we're really grateful for, is that it is in some ways, there's a place for that in the Hallmark lexicon, but there's a place maybe for not that also. So it's like people that are watching that do kind of, they are like, oh, it's nice that, you know, I haven't heard that specific one, but I appreciate that comment. But, you know, hearing that Dawn's journey isn't just about that, it's a little rougher on her, you know.
Yeah.
And it was important to us, I think, when we were writing it, but we kind of left some of that vague on purpose because we didn't want it to be, you know, you guys are out having dinner on Valentine's. It doesn't mean that you're not married or that you're not, it's like we just don't.
Yeah, it's not necessarily pertinent to the story.
Yeah.
And there's this thing called the Bechdel test or Bechdel test.
Yeah, Bechdel test.
Right. And this is, if this doesn't pass the test, then it certainly comes to one of the closest, you know, in terms of this type of content to passing it, because I think one of the requirements is you have to have two women having a conversation in a scene that's not about a man.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how rare it is that you see that on screen, two women. You know, so there's actually a test for it. So I just thought that was really cool that we have a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about.
Well, it was also very important to us, and it's nice writing with a woman, that it was about her gaining back her power, not needing the man to save her, not needing, you know, that part of it. Yes, she wants romance and she wants a partner and everything, but it wasn't about that. And even when that kind of was approached, she was like, no. This is about me getting back on my own 2 feet. I don't need another Alan to help me out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. You know, that she, because there's so many women like that, especially women that I know in my life like that, that they're so independent and strong. And, you know, they it's, you know, your community coming together to help you out. And it's not all about, you know, finding a partner to like help support you in that
save you, to save you.
save you, you know. And she kind of did it on her own and with the help
she
of
saved herself.
Yeah, so it's like that's super refreshing to see because
I just love it that she refused Alan's check. That was like one of my favorite things.
That's
like,
been
that's
back
right.
and
Don't
forth.
take his money. It's probably dirty money anyway.
I know, that's why. Well, actually, at one point we had him. I mean, seriously, like in one iteration of the script, we had him. He invested in a cat burglar camera, which was like a cat had a camera attached to it, and that was like.
That was one of the ideas, and we were like, no, that's not going to work.
Save it for the sequel.
Save it for
we actually did have, we did know what the thing that he was investing in. I don't want to call it the scam, the scheme that we did have an idea of what it was. So, and we looked it through, and we also, you know, I appreciate you saying that because so many people are like, she should have just taken the $10,000 for her son and everything. And it was like, no, we didn't want it to be about that. We wanted it to be about she could do this on her own.
And even at the end, when he's like, I got this place, it was like, no, it can't be about him getting her the place. It has to be about her deciding whether or not she wants to rent it from him. And so, yeah.
So one of the questions we have for each of you is just,
and Kevin, we'll get to your question. Yeah, go ahead.
You can all chime in. Is just, I think people are so curious about the process. Like, you know, how do you get the audition and what that process was like and the casting? And did you have series of callbacks, no callbacks? How did that work for you ladies?
I did a self-tape. So I submitted the self-tape, and I think it took about 12 or 14 days. I got a call from my agent, and he said they want to offer you Bella. And I said, well, of course I want to go for Bella. Yeah, it was my first Hallmark, so for me it was just what a fun experience. It was wonderful.
Nice.
Great. And Joey's so great. Joey Plager is just,
he's so lovely. I love him. Well, okay, I'll go. So yeah, same thing. I also did a self-tape, and I think similar timeline. Yeah, about a week or two before I heard back. I can't remember if I got pinned for it and then got the offer after, or if it was like you know, because there was no callback. Because you know, with self-tape, it's very rare that you do callbacks. Yeah, when I found out, I had to check because I looked up the director because it was Michael Robinson, and I was like, that name looks familiar because I did a Hallmark not too long ago before, and surely enough, I worked with him on that last Hallmark, and it was such a serendipitous moment that you know that he remembered me and had brought me in for this audition. So it was a nice full circle kind of moment getting to work with him again, and he's great. So I was really, really nice to hear that news.
Nice.
I did a tape as well for it, and I remember. Okay, so this part got cut out of the movie. There's the scene where Dawn and I are in the pew, and I'm kind of giving her a pep talk. There's supposed to be a prayer. Remember, I say,
yeah.
You remember, you're the writer. I say a little prayer, and I remember thinking, oh, if I book this role, my mom is going to be so happy. My mom's like a devout Catholic. And, and I thought, I'm going to bring I'm really putting my Catholic upbringing to good use because I know how to sit in a pew and say a prayer.
Yeah.
And so that was a really nice part of the scene. It probably got cut for time. But I remember taping that, and then I think I got a notice that I was now being considered for the Jordana role instead.
Oh.
So they're like, oh, you're being considered for a different role that you didn't tape for. And I thought, okay, great, whatever. And then it went back and said, oh, actually, back to the Cassia role. So, it was great. And I remember it saying something like, hey, what's your singing and choir experience? I was like, I was in a choir when I was a kid. And so that was helpful. And I got to work with Michael Robeson again because I had worked with him on An Unexpected Christmas. So it was really nice to see him again on set and,
nice.
Just like a reunion with him. And I should really do a shout out to this guy I looked up on YouTube. But because Cassie is often conducting the choir, and I had no idea how to conduct a choir, this guy was so useful on YouTube.
You know, I actually, while you're finding that, I actually, when you were conducting, I looked and was like, so did they get somebody who knows how to conduct? Like, I actually leaned in to see, and I was like, oh, she knows what she's doing.
I had no idea.
Well, you sure sold it.
And this guy was like, he had like a 10-part series on like how to conduct, and I was watching.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
watching it in the makeup chair.
Oh, that's so fun.
So funny.
Oh,
You know,
that was one of the most fun scenes to watch. Madonna and I were just seated side by side in a pew while that was all being shot with Allison. And honestly, it was so much fun to see all of these people coming out in their pastel colored shirts. And, oh my gosh, it was amazing. It made my week, it made my month.
Thank you for that.
I know Teresa and I were like, we just need to go and see if we can be on the set for the Easter, the Easter day at the church. It would have been fun, but we just didn't do it.
So what is his name, Allison?
Thank you to Dr. Roger Hale. Dr. Roger Hale, if you're out there, he's a professional choir director and vocal expert. And he, if it hadn't been for him, you probably wouldn't have wanted to see that scene.
That's so funny.
But I really went for it, right, guys?
Yeah. When we were doing our coverage of Mike and I, we had to watch Allison just kind of go off.
Yeah, Madonna was like, it's almost twerking. Like, I think you need to pull back.
It was great. Yeah. So
and how was it? When you guys first got together, and did you do a table read before, a Zoom table read, or did you just, because this happened so quick for us, and how quickly it was in production from when we finished the script. It was in like 15 days it was in production, or I can't even remember now. No,
I was
pre-production started. What's that?
I was part of a table read. They did do a table read with some of the cast, and I got to be part of that. And it's so cool to just look at the little squares and think, like, Vancouver is essentially a small pool of actors.
Yeah, I wondered
compared to LA.
Yeah,
so we all kind of know each other or know of each other and have worked together. And it's just really cool to see, like, who's my new film family I'm going to work with for the next few weeks. And I actually did not know these two wonderful women before we did this. So this film brought us together.
I love it. And it was, I think too, Patrick and I did a children's TV show years ago together. And I remember we raised money for it, and one of the investors came through, and he just said, about the work environment. He thought that the show would be successful just based on the energy in the room. Like he said, you guys have a really good vibration. He didn't use the word vibration. He was an old Catholic dude who wouldn't say vibration, but he was like, right? He was like, you have a really good, like, the energy in this room, I can feel it. It's palpable. And I feel like maybe with the Blessing Bracelet, I'm watching it and I'm like, you guys are giving off such, like, everybody that when I talk to, and it's hard because people, so you don't know how honest they're being with you. But I think people are being honest. They're like, it's so sweet. It's so endearing. It's so heartwarming. And I feel like maybe that energy you guys had behind the scenes carried so much.
We had such a good time together. Like, even from the first day we met, I think we were in the cab or something, taxi coming from the ferry or from the heliplane. The helijet.
Not the ferry.
Yeah. And so I think it was like maybe afternoon, and I'm like, so, like, are you guys gonna like eat something later, or like, do you like gonna have dinner? And we're like, do you just want to have dinner together? And then we just had dinner, and it just was like game on.
Yeah.
Just talking as if we've been girlfriends for years almost.
Yeah. So that was very real chemistry. And also Amanda Schul, who plays their lead, like, she is just
she's
an
amazing.
Awesome person to
Lovely.
Oh, that's so great.
I love to hear that.
She really is, like, such a, like, grounded, down-to-earth person, and she really wanted to have fun with everybody. And sometimes you work with a lead, a number one, who kind of just sticks to themselves, and they just want to fly in, do the job, and get out and FaceTime with their kids. And she wanted to connect with everyone, and
nice.
She was just a lovely person to work with.
We were blown away by her performance.
Oh, amazing!
She really brought it home. Really,
she just makes it real.
You all did it, and then I love hearing that. It was an instant, connection that you hadn't met before, but it felt that way. It felt like you were all connected so well during the whole every time that you were on camera together. And that was,
I had no idea. Okay, well, I didn't know Allison or Madonna, but honestly, Patrick, I giggled like a little girl through so many scenes. There was one night I was tearing up. I couldn't handle it. They just had me in stitches. It was so much fun to work with both of them.
Okay, let's just take ourselves back to the moment when so Sandra, not Sandra, Sandra says, "How much are the bracelets? And can you make these for me?" And at the restaurant, and Amanda, Dawn goes, "Whoa, I don't know if I can do that order. It's too much in too little time." And then Flancy says, "Oh yes, we can." And then I come up with supposedly both of you and say, "Because we'll help." But instead of being flanked by 2 people, suddenly there was only 1. Madonna went down.
Went down.
She went like domino, just like
You fell?
oh,
she fell down.
I have a clip. It's so funny.
And then we have it on
Oh, my
camera.
God.
Yeah, maybe I'll post it.
We have it on camera, and then I said,
oh,
"Madonna,
please. Were you okay? You didn't get hurt?
No, it was fine. I honestly don't know what happened. It was weird because it almost happened in slow motion too. I was because I'm wearing a dress and
you're on the bar stools because they had you guys up, right?
And I'm wearing heels and my bag, my little purse is on the chair, and then I go to get up and I don't know what happened. I step in my shoe but then I'm also trying to get my bag and I just like went down.
We have a clip of her like in the frame and then slow mo like exiting the frame.
Going down.
And then they look behind, they're like, "What the heck?" And then I just
Oh my
ran
God.
back.
And you ran up anyway.
Because like the director didn't yell cut. I was like,
Yeah, you never cut your own scene. Yeah.
I don't think you saw it. I saw you and I saw Allison and I knew where I was supposed to be on my mark, and there was a moment where I was like, do I go help her or do I go and be on my mark?
So ridiculous. Hi, yes, I'm here.
It is a really fun, it can be it can be such a fun profession, right? I mean, you get to play. I mean, it's a surreal kind of business to be in. I'm so curious. Have any of you worked in the States?
No.
I've never worked in the States, no.
I'm just so curious about if there's a difference in
more lighthearted and fun in Canada than
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
well, that was the fun thing when we were doing our kids TV show and people came to West Michigan to film it, and they were like, "Where's West Michigan?" Then they found love, and it was so much lighter than other sets that they had been on. So that was we have about 5 minutes left. I'm wondering if there's any other questions from our viewers. Kevin asked one about Teresa and I'll just say yes, we do have plans to write another Hallmark movie, and
whether or not they have plans to buy one is
exactly. So
we actually have a couple of projects in the pipeline, and we're waiting to see what's going to resonate for them, and we're excited. Right?
Spin-off, Sandra
I
spin-off.
know. It's interesting because people are like Blessing Bracelet 2, and we've actually been exploring, like, is there a way to bring the gal pals in a different way? Is there?
Don't give anything away.
No, I can't put my shot. I didn't say anything. Because we don't know if they'll bite on Blessing Bracelet 2. So
there's just so many great supporting characters in this movie too. Like, I just want to give accolades to the other actors in this movie, because in watching it, they built so much into the moments. Like, and you guys as writers gave them that seed that they could grow and make a moment out of something that you wouldn't expect. Like the stuff with Catherine Dobbs, just brilliant in the role of Greta. You know?
Those looks that she was giving
brought so much to it, and in the Yoda thing, and
we love Pearl. She brought really brought it home. She really was wonderful.
Oh, Pearl.
She was so amazing. Pearl.
That was like a Shakespearean arc for Pearl.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And it's so funny when we got the polished script. Joey sent us the polished script, which was so nice. He kind of kept us engaged through the whole process. And we didn't know what the publisher was going to do with script. We weren't being paid to polish it. That was, our job was essentially done, although we came back in and did a few more things. But I was like, please don't cut Flancy. Please don't cut.
Oh,
Flancy. I was like,
brilliant.
They were going to cut Flancy, and they didn't. And she was great. I thought
she's like the heart of the movie in a way. She's just amazing. So I'd like to see more of the parents. Bill McDonald plays the dad. He is such a phenomenal actor. He didn't have too much to do in the movie, but I'd love to see more.
There's a much bigger part for the dad, a much bigger.
And it was fun. We have what's called Easter eggs throughout the whole movie,
for our
River Rapids is. We live in Grand Rapids, so that was a throw, to that. But we also had Ben's parents were Rox and Vern.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember this, but its name, Vern, was named after my niece's father-in-law who died suddenly 3 years ago. And he was like this hunter, just, good old boy. He loved Hallmark movies. He would sit and watch Hallmark movies. So it was
that's a great tribute.
It was nice to have those little things.
His dog is Lolly in real life.
Oh, nice.
And
nice.
Yeah, his dad's name is Norm, and it was
all the characters so great. There's a moment Bill has where he's doing, I think they show him doing the bracelets while he's watching the game, and you'll see he almost breaks the fourth wall. I thought he did for a second, looked right into the camera, and it's like he kind of shares with the audience like, I am in hell doing these bracelets. But I'll do it because I love my daughter. It's so good. Go back and watch that moment. He almost looks at the camera.
It was interesting because we did have a little bit more in the script, and that did get cut down. His part about kind of being grumpy about making them and everything.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's great. Yeah, it's so funny when you go from one iteration to the other, and the notes that they have on it too. We had some stuff they got rid of that we were like, oh man, but we can see why Hallmark audiences wouldn't.
Yeah, you'll have to share that with us after we wrap.
Yeah, we'll tell you one. We'll tell you one. We should wrap up.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
This was great. This was wonderful, ladies. I'm hoping that in some other form we all get to work together again. And meeting you three for the first time, I can feel the energy through the screen in the movie, but also here tonight. So thank you for doing this.
Oh, thanks for having us. So nice to see you both on,
I know, I miss you guys.
But...
Wait, what do you guys do next week? Next week?
Well, yes.
We'll all wear yellow?
Never. Yeah, I threw it though. Never been to Vancouver. That was a big part of. We were like, oh, could we go do this? And then getting COVID was Teresa's downfall.
Yeah.
So
you got to come in the summer. Come film this Christmas Hallmark in the summer with us.
Yeah, we'd love that. That would be great. All right, we're going to put you in the green room. Don't run away. We're going to close up shop here real quick.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I got to do each one individually.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, Micah.
We won't keep you long. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
I know we had a nice crowd, but they were quiet.
There's
a lot of people watching, other than Kevin asked. And thanks for that question. And thanks, Michael.
And somebody else, Connie, look at me with my glasses. Patrick and Teresa, how did you meet and decide to work together and co-write such an inspiring movie? Oh, thank you, Connie. Real briefly, I will just say we met in college. We have been collaborating in some way or fashion since we met 10 years ago. And
good try.
All this time we've done a lot of writing together, and so we will continue to write together. And so thanks for asking. But yeah, we met.
And the bracelets themselves are the inspiration for the movie, and they were created by our friend Don Sprong, and that's how we were kind of like, I think there's something here, and it became bigger than we thought. So we're grateful.
And currently, Dawn Sprong is living the movie because she is so overwhelmed with orders. She's got to find a church to help her make them.
And 3 gal pals like our wonderful guests.
So very good.
Okay.
All right. With that.
Oh, wait a minute. Real quick.
What are you real quicking?
Lolly.
Are you seriously? Oh my God.
Lolly.
He's going to get the real Lolly. Her head's so big, you're going to.
Come here. Come up here.
She's an alien. Get up there. Oh,
Lolly. There she is.
There she is. The real life Lolly. Hi,
What's
Lolly.
up, honey? And Bigsby is really mad in the background.
Because he didn't get a name and part in the show. All right.
Okay, everybody. Good night.
Gotta go.
Gotta go.
Gotta go.